Welcome to Vuforia Spatial Toolbox Spike Prime Beginner. Today we're going to go over how to establish your connection and use the nodes that are built in. In order to connect to Spike Prime, you're first going to have to go to our GitHub. I've linked it in the description below. I highly recommend you download or clone the entire GitHub because some of the tools that you see used in this video will be coming directly from this GitHub. Be sure to follow the README on the GitHub to make any personal edits that you need to the code to get your Spike Prime up and running. Let's start off with what the server sees. So right now I'm in the Vuforia Spatial Edge server. Just going to show you the files that I have currently. So if you type ls or dir if you're on Windows, you should see these files. Then I'm just going to run node server. So this will run the server. You see this first error that's actually expected for the Spike Prime connection. What you really want to see is you want to see this port open, and you want to see this list of what everything is connected to. So these are the list of ports that I have connected on my Spike Prime right now. The next thing you're going to want to do is open up a web browser and go to localhost:8080 as your website. You can see right here, this is more or less what yours will look like. We're going to want to go to Manage Hardware Interfaces. So click on that. You should turn your Spike Prime interface on if it's not already. And then we're going to go over to this Settings button. Well, the setting we're looking for is complexity. We want to make sure that's beginner. It should be there by default, but if for some reason it's not, make sure you type in beginner there. That will give you the right amount of nodes for this video. If you had to change your complexity level, you're going to have to restart the server. So just go back into terminal, hit Ctrl+C to stop the current server, and run node server again, and make sure that your Spike Prime connects correctly again. But now our Spike Prime is connected and we're ready to play with the robot. If you're interested in different complexity levels, here's a quick comparison showing all the nodes for all the different complexity levels. So here you can see I have the Spike Prime right next to the image target, which is the Help Us to Improve manual. It's going to show you the nodes that I have. So there's 5 nodes right now. We're in the beginner mode. So first we're just going to open the pocket. I'm going to go grab the number tool. So this allows us to enter a custom number. So I'm going to size it down, and then I'm going to connect it to the screen so that way we can display whatever number we want on the screen. So I'm just going to display the number 3. As you see, I close this window and 3 has appeared on the LED screen of the Spike Prime. We can also connect this to the LED. So the Spike Prime has coded in numbers for the different LEDs. So if we go ahead and type in 5, it'll show 5 on the screen. And then the LED correspondence is green. So if we zoom in real close, you can see the LED of the Spike Prime is green right now. Next, we're going to utilize the distance sensor and the motors. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut the connection between this tool and then hold and drag it to the trash bin to remove it from the space. So now I'm going to go into the pocket. I'm going to grab the value tool. So this should display a number. So I'm going to size it down accordingly, drag it over a little bit so it's not interfering with anything, and then connect the distance sensor to the value tool. So now you can see it's displaying 42. So that's the number of centimeters away it is from that box. So if I pull it back a little bit further, it's at 52 now. In order to control the motors, we're going to want to make use of this stop motors node down at the bottom here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the pocket. We're going to grab a switch tool. So then we're going to resize it. We're going to connect it with the value of stop motors. So if the switch is true, the motors will stop on the Spike Prime. So now if we go ahead and connect the distance to the motors, you can see the Spike Prime starts driving forwards and slows down as it approaches the box. And then once I flip the switch, it stopped the motors altogether. So if I let the motors go again, it drives very slowly towards the box. And I flip the switch again and the motors stop altogether. So we've actually made a proportional controller with just these 5 nodes right here.